Alright, my fellow habitat management gurus, walk yourself through a scenario with me. You're about to go spray your food plot or your old field with your tractor or your UTV boom sprayer, or boomless sprayer. And just for example, the problem weed that you've got is a grass that clethodim will control. Now, since you've read the clethodim label, you have read the clethodim label, right? You know that you need to spray between 12 and 16 ounces of clethodim per acre to control the weed. But what does that even mean? How much chemical do you add to your sprayer? With how much water? How fast do you drive? What PSI do you set your sprayer to? Now, you might be one of the people that just dumps out a few glugs of herbicide and calls it good, but to be honest, that is not a good way to do it, because you're probably either adding too much or too little chemical. Too much chemical and you're wasting an expensive product. Too little and the chemical won't be effective and you're still wasting an expensive product. Another incorrect way to do it is to spray based on a percent solution in your boom or boomless sprayer. For example, you can mix a 2% solution of glyphosate in your boom sprayer, but that's the incorrect way to do it unless you're spot spraying. Remember, herbicide labels almost always recommend a rate to spray based on volume or pounds of a product per acre. So spraying a 2% solution via a backpack sprayer assumes you're getting adequate coverage on the plant's leaves. If you put that same 2% in a boom sprayer, there's no way to know if you're putting the right amount of product per acre unless you've calibrated your sprayer. Now, we've seen the sprayer calibration videos out there, and some of them are great, but some are misguided and inaccurate, and others are just overly complicated. So we've boiled down all of the math that you need to calibrate your sprayer into a simple 3-part equation. All you need to know is your sprayer output at a given PSI, your spray width in feet, and the time it takes you to drive 100 yards. These are the tools that you'll need to get the job done. You'll need a 5-gallon bucket, a measuring cup, measuring tape or a measuring wheel to cover 100 yards, and a stopwatch. That's it. So first thing you'll do is put a few gallons of water in your sprayer and set the pressure to whatever the manufacturer recommends. For us, that's 60 psi. Turn on your sprayer at that pressure and catch all of the water out of each nozzle for 1 minute. Record how many ounces each nozzle sprayed and add it all up. For our sprayer, that came out to an average of 30 ounces per nozzle, or a total of 210 ounces per minute. Next, measure your spray width at the same PSI and at the working height where your sprayer will be operating. For us, that means our 3-point hitch is all the way up. And our spray width is about 12 feet in total, but there's about 6 inches on either end that's pretty light and doesn't get good coverage, so we're going to go with 11 feet. Last, we need to figure out our speed. Your tractor or UTV might have a speedometer, but ours doesn't. And I want to double check the manufacturer's numbers, so I'll figure out speed the old-fashioned way. So do it for Dale and mark out a 100-yard racetrack where you can check your 100-yard time. Now, I did this step a couple of different times in different gears, B2, B3, and C1, all at a constant RPM of 1600, just so I can have the sprayer calibrated at different tractor speeds in case the ground is unusually bumpy and I'm just trying to stay in the tractor seat. So mark out 100 yards and see how long it takes you to drive in a given gear at a constant RPM. And I did this a couple of times for each gear and then took the average. And that's literally all the information you need to know to have your sprayer calibrated. Now let's just plug it into the equation. So you're going to take your 100 yard time in seconds, multiply it by your total nozzle output, ounces in terms of ounces per minute, and multiply that by a constant value of 0.018905. And then divide that whole thing by your spray width, and that is your gallons per acre. So for our tractor in gear B2 at a constant RPM of 1600, we're going to take 53 seconds multiplied by 210 ounces multiplied by 0.018905 and divide that by 11 feet. And that gives us about 19 gallons per acre. And now our sprayer is calibrated. So don't overlook this important aspect of any habitat management plan, whether you're spraying your food plots or your old fields or even spraying your gravel driveway to keep the weeds off of it. This is a critical step in the process to make sure that you are efficiently using an expensive product. Okay, good.